This is Eagle Ops. Subscribe now for more intense military stories, real operations, and untold battles from the front lines. At local dawn, 2 U.S. Navy helicopters were providing top cover for a naval task force as it patrolled the volatile waters of the southern Red Sea. While the patrol had been relatively quiet so far, everything was about to change in a matter of seconds. Unknown to the pilots, a formation of enemy fast attack boats operating near the coast had the commercial escort and its high-value assets in their sights. They unleashed a salvo of guided rockets and bursts of machine gun fire on a Singapore-flagged container ship as it steamed through the southern Red Sea, about 55 nautical miles southwest of the coast. The enemy plan was simple: swarm the cargo ship, board her quickly, and seize control before her crew could send a distress signal. But there was just one problem. 2 Navy helicopters were already airborne and closing fast. Their job was to perform maritime security overwatch and investigate. Any suspicious-looking surface contacts? Pretty easy, right? Well, what they encountered instead was a full-scale hostile boarding attempt underway against a U.S. escorted commercial vessel. The ship had requested assistance the moment the boats closed within visual range. The vessel's onboard security contractors took up defensive positions. Only armed with M4 rifles and an M240 machine gun, their firepower was no match for what the attackers were packing. On board the enemy boats were rockets, RPGs with thermobaric warheads, and belt-fed PKMs that all outranged and outgunned what the merchant vessel had. Within minutes, the small boats were closing the distance, preparing to board. The helicopters responded immediately to the distress call. Within seconds of receiving clearance, both aircraft accelerated at high speed to close the 26 nautical mile gap between them and the vessel. But time was not on their side. It would take several minutes to get there, about 5 minutes too late to stop the attackers. The pilots had to devise a plan fast to hit the boats hard before they could scramble aboard the merchant ship. Their radar picked up multiple fast attack boats on approach, each closing on the cargo ship at 50 knots in a tight converging formation. On board each boat were 3 to 4 militants armed with PKM machine guns, RPGs, and AK-47s. A pair of them carried thermobaric warheads capable of penetrating armor far thicker than the ship's hull. Making matters worse, every boat was rigged with satellite communication terminals, relaying real-time data to command elements on shore. The use of satellite links allowed them to accurately coordinate swarm tactics, receiving real-time imagery from drones, coastal spotters, and command nodes. This wasn't just a random raid. It was a coordinated strike based on asymmetric naval warfare doctrine. While the merchant vessel was unarmed, its security team opened fire with mounted M240B machine guns from hardened positions. They managed to damage one of the boats but couldn't stop all 4. In less than a minute, the fast boats were now within RPG range. One rocket exploded dangerously close to the ship's superstructure. The part with the crew controls the vessel. Taking that out would have meant losing control and any chance of escape. Just as the situation turned desperate, the helicopters arrived. The attackers were still about 600 meters out, using RPGs and machine guns to soften the target before boarding. This delay gave the pilots just enough time to close in. With clearance to engage, they began scanning targets. Under the nose of each aircraft was an advanced radar system capable of tracking multiple moving targets through dense sea clutter. It identified the fast boats and guided the helicopters directly over them. The radar's moving target indicator used Doppler shifts to detect and lock onto solid objects in motion, filtering out waves. Once confirmed, an imaging radar built a detailed picture of the boats in real time. Now sure of their targets, the pilots prepared to strike. Each helicopter was armed with 250 caliber machine guns monsters, capable of firing 100 rounds per minute with an effective range of 850 meters. Their ammunition mixed armor-piercing, incendiary, and tracer rounds, designed to tear through thin hulls. But the enemy fired first. Tracer rounds streaked past the helicopters, close enough to see. That was their final mistake. The pilots descended low to 150 feet, deploying countermeasures just in case any heat-seeking missiles were fired. Dozens of flares ignited behind them, burning at over 2,000 degrees Celsius and forming a wall of heat and light. Then the real fight began. The first boat was ripped, apart in seconds as heavy rounds punched through its engine block, igniting the fuel. Fire erupted and debris scattered across the sea. Within a minute, another boat was shredded, its rudder disabled, its hull collapsing beneath the waves. The third was struck by both helicopters simultaneously, riddled, with holes until it vanished beneath the surface. The fourth boat turned tail, retreating under a trail of smoke as rounds continued to strike its hull. The helicopters did not pursue, staying close to protect the merchant vessel. In less than 7 minutes, the two helicopters had sunk 3 boats and fired nearly 2,800 rounds of ammunition. But this wasn't the end. Higher command decided that destroying a few boats wasn't enough punishment for such an unprovoked attack. Within hours, a U.S. warship opened fire on known coastal radar sites that had been providing the enemy with targeting data. Its massive naval gun unleashed nearly 100 high-explosive shells, each weighing over 70 pounds, destroying radar stations up and down the coastline. The bombardment crippled the enemy's maritime tracking capability by more than half. And when night fell, the retaliation continued. Fighter jets launched from an aircraft carrier delivered precision. Strikes using standoff, weapons against missile depots and command centers. Each warhead detonated with devastating effect, wiping out drones, missiles, and weapons stockpiles. Intercepted communications later confirmed that multiple operators and advisors had been eliminated. The strike sent a clear message. Any attack would be met with overwhelming force. The rules of engagement had changed, from defense to deterrence. You've been watching Eagle OPS. Don't forget to subscribe for more epic military action and real battlefield stories.